Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. The Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning, Mr. Joey Areola.
Good morning, Mac. I don't know much, but I know one thing. Being the little man in the NBA is a good thing sometimes. Allen Iverson to Steph Curry to Trae Young, it's all about scoring.
Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. I bet you went to bed and thought the Islanders were dead. You thought it was over. We get a game 7 tomorrow night, baby. We've got an important game 6 tonight as well in the NHL. Man, this is the best time of the season when these two are going back and forth, back and forth. It's an incredible time. We got that and a lot more, including what team is heading to the Super Bowl and winning it for the first time in franchise history. You're listening to the Armchair.
Come on.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. Mac McGee and Joey Areola. Joey, how the hell are you this morning, sir?
Man, just the energy, I could already feel it, Mac. I mean, like you said, between the NHL and the NBA, every day you get a couple of great games, and then MLB is getting fully into things, getting about to the halfway point. So just an exciting time in sports that's outside of football season, obviously, and a lot to talk about, and I can't wait.
Yeah, so, and I still say this, it would behoove both of them to not play against each other in the ratings game. I don't know why they've never understood that and gotten out of their way. I think some of it has been over the years, we'll say the last 30 years or so, the NBA didn't look at the NHL as any kind of a threat. And though the NHL does not get the kind of views that the NBA still gets, I still think the NBA could improve their viewership, which just means improve your money if you move your playoffs around. Same thing with the NHL, but we'll just see if they get their heads out of their asses and do something different this coming year. It just always, remember before the pandemic, they were talking about doing that in the NBA. They were talking about pushing it back, and there was some pushback on whether or not they wanted to be playing into August. Okay, but typically you'd be finishing it up in June. Why wouldn't you just start your NBA a little later and play into late July? This is perfect, so anyways, we'll see what they do. But last night, Trae Young, wow, what a game by Trae Young. Did you get a chance to see much of it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, actually, I'm in the heart of Milwaukee right now from where I'm at, and I went to, after these seminars I'm doing right now, I went out to a Milwaukee place. I was considering going to the game, but it got kind of out late, and man, the crowd was just deflated. I know he missed some shots, but when the guy had 48 points,
You're in Milwaukee right now?
I am currently in Milwaukee.
Okay, I need you to take your phone or your iPad, however you're doing this show, and take it around with you, the city, and I'm going to live them all week, and explain to them how the city of Atlanta is coming for Milwaukee, baby. Let's go. Yeah, 48 points. I mean, he makes it look so easy. Such a fun player to watch. I don't know who he really reminds me of quite yet as his career is starting to build, because he's much smoother, though not as dynamic as an Allen Iverson. But that's who you kind of remind, because the fact that he has to load the entire team, the fake pass behind his back and then dribble drive over the Giants. I mean, that was beautiful. The little shimmy that he did, that had to piss people off. I don't know if he drained that three, but they left him wide open. I'm sure he was like, really? And he's just a fun player to watch. He's already pissed off New York. He's already pissed off Philadelphia. And now he's on his way to possibly really pissing off. I'm sure Milwaukee fans were thinking, man, we get to play Atlanta. This is going to be great. We're going to get a chance to win a championship for the first time in 50 years. I don't know. It's going to be must win tomorrow night for Milwaukee, obviously. And we've got another series going on tonight in the world of the NBA. Phoenix up 2 games to none. I still haven't heard any kind of update on Kawhi or Chris Paul. Paul is being quarantined, and Kawhi has a knee issue. I don't expect to see Kawhi, but you never know with the quarantine thing. I think bare minimum, Chris Paul can be there by game 4. But this whole thing is asinine to begin with. But we won't get into that because I've beaten that drum all week.
I think I did see a report though just recently that CP3 is back tonight. By the way,
so he can play tonight.
yeah, he
Okay.
can play tonight.
I wasn't
Yes.
sure what the cutoff was. So that's good for the Suns, bad for the Clippers. Look, as well as PG-13 has played over the last few games, he can't keep it up because I don't care what he calls himself. He's not playoff P.
No.
Okay. And if Chris Paul is back, well, this is an absolute must-win game anyways tonight.
Correct.
If Chris Paul is back, that makes it a little more difficult. And you're trying to extend the series to hopefully see Kawhi, right? I've made no bones about it. I'm pulling for Chris Paul and the Suns.
Same here.
But I wouldn't mind seeing a good series. And now that everyone's out that I hate, I just want to see good playoff basketball. I like
Correct.
Kawhi a lot. I pulled for him when Toronto won the championship. I don't dislike PG-13. I just look at him as kind of not really a joke because he is a really good player, but he's not as great as he thinks he is.
Yep.
He's really good, and he'll probably end up in the Basketball Hall of Fame, but that's because they let everybody in there.
Anybody walks in, right?
Yeah, I declined the email the other day. They sent me they said, we noticed you were pretty good in pickup games in the late 80s and early 90s on the west side of Jacksonville.
You're killing me.
We want to induct you. And I said, dude, I'm pretty sure the Braves are playing a doubleheader that day. I got no time for that. So, but he's a really good player, but he can't put them on their back for a long period of time. Like, I think if roles were reversed, I would still kind of believe that Kawhi could do just about anything. Now, they have not meshed well, and I do believe this is it for the Clippers. They get knocked out, I think it's done. The only way Kawhi Leonard stays with the Clippers is if they win the championship this year, because he's got an opt-out.
Yep.
And I just feel like he's going to opt out, or he's going to demand PG-13 be traded. Remember, he's the one that brought him in, by the way.
They got rid of all the picks.
Yeah, I want to play with this guy. And they doubled down and they went all in thinking this was a great thing for their franchise. And the Clippers might be the Clippers again by early August, because essentially for you youngins out there who have only been watching basketball about 10 years, the Clippers franchise has been a disaster for years. They talk Kawhi into coming, but I really believe in my heart of hearts, Kawhi's not going to stay with the current situation. So this is a big game for the Clippers to win for the series. It's also a big game for the Clippers to win for their entire franchise and what it's going to happen going forward. Because unfortunately in the NBA, this is what you have now. You have they're all prima donnas and they all want to play with who they want to play with and yada, yada, yada. So you're dealing with this monster that you can't just build a team. Like when they signed Kawhi, you would think, all right, we're set for the next 4 years. We'll figure it out. No, they give these players all these damn options, all these opt-outs. And I think that alone is killing the NBA. But
yeah, no, it's a damn shame kind of, because honestly, my wild card prediction is I think he ends up opting out and going to New York. Potentially that's my guess. But
Celtics.
So hey, even Boston. Yeah, I mean, getting back probably to the East, but I mean, we're talking about these.
No, he is a California kid though, so that's the only thing. The whole thing was he was going back to go home.
Yep.
So I would think he would stay. Look, he could go to the desert.
Yeah, he could do.
If you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah, right. I mean, hey, after Toronto, I kind of like he can kind of do as he pleases, even though it hasn't been the prettiest run with the Clippers. But I mean, you talked about all 4 teams right there. And to this point in the playoffs, we talked about a few weeks ago with LeBron up, what would happen to the ratings. And I don't know if was due to COVID or what, but through the conference semifinals, it's up 39% from last year, the NBA playoffs. And furthermore, the Bucks and Nets game 7 and the 76ers they had 7 million viewers. That was the most watched games of this postseason. So maybe the new blood isn't as bad as people think. I know, and it's crazy.
But also something. These are disingenuous stats because the viewership was so terrible last year.
Right.
Anything is an improvement. It was like when Sean has like drank the WNBA Kool-Aid.
What is he drinking over there?
Like a few weeks ago, he tried to send me some stat that the opening games of the WNBA weekend were up 25% from last year. I'm like, I said, what? It went from 4 to 5 viewers. What the hell are we talking about? No one's watching the WNBA. It's
No.
garbage. And for whatever reason, they've got it playing this year in the middle of COVID. I mean, in the middle of the NBA play. Used to the WNBA played after the season, right? And then I think they slowly started building it into towards the end of the playoff season, they would start their season.
Yep.
So that they could get their playoffs in before football season, right? But nobody's watching that. And just same thing about the NBA. Yeah, their numbers are up, but their numbers were so bad. They were so damn bad last year. Anything is going to be up from last year.
No, that's very true. And
remember, last year's numbers were being compared to pre-Larry Bird, Magic Johnson NBA numbers. When you used to watch they were so bad back then. You used to watch the championship on tape delay. Okay. A lot of people don't realize this who are not old.
I don't remember that.
I barely remember that. I was a little kid and I can remember staying up for some reason. Me and my dad watched an NBA game really late at night. And I do remember that. And I remember thinking, why is this on right now? And he said, it's not, it's being taped. And there was, he was a big Florida State fan. There had to have been an FSU link to it somewhere because there's no way that he cared about anything else. But anyways, they used to put the NBA final. This is the NBA finals. It used to be on late night after your local news because they didn't want to hurt, because back then you only had a few channels and they were fighting for ratings, and no one would watch the NBA in the 70s. Because it was looked upon as a league that was nothing but a bunch of cokeheads, because they were getting a lot of arrests. And so it was looked upon as a terrible, dirty league, essentially. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson changed that. Magic was the good guy going out west, and Larry Bird, let's be honest, he was the white guy going back east. Okay. And so that made it was the black-white thing. It was also because they were just both good guys. You could pull for them. There wasn't a jerk off, right? Correct. And so, but that's how bad it was last year.
Yeah, and
hey, it's up. Oh, yeah, it better be, because if it's down, you have broken your entire league, and it's never going to come back. Well, but yeah, I do believe it. A lot of it may have to do with the fact that LeBron's not there.
Yeah, and honestly, I had actually an argument with a couple buddies yesterday because I did share that statistic with everyone today. But at the same time, like you said, if you look at the past few years and compare it, the NBA still has a lot of work to do. That's why when you talk about maybe starting around Christmas and doing it that way, things could maybe even work.
In late July. No one is look. Typical years we don't have. Typical years, what is it? June 24th. The NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals would have just ended.
Correct.
Okay. And then you've got that month and a half lay where the diehard baseball fans are excited, but that's about it. Okay. Yep. And then, and you got to be diehard, because a lot of baseball fans they watch at the beginning of the year. They'll watch it realistically throughout the year, a lot of baseball fans, but they're not tuned in every single night. And then they ramp up their interest into late August, early September. Now, I'm one of the caveats, along with everyone that I feel like everyone that I see on Twitter that follows me and vice versa. We are nothing but, die hard. We watch every game. And the reason why I know that is because that's all my Twitter timeline is filled up with baseball fans bitching. It's not just Braves. I follow a lot of, I'd say there's about 6 different fan bases that I follow and vice versa. A lot of it's got to do with our content. But anyways, my point is, you've got a month and a half where there's like nothing as far as championship. And that's what brings people to the table. When you're going to sit down and watch something and it's must-see TV, it's got to be championship stuff. Now, the NFL is different because their games mean so much. We watch every single game, right?
Yep.
because you can't say, well, it's only a 5-game losing streak, we'll be fine. You can't do that in the NFL.
No.
And the fact that you only have to do it once a week, so it's a lot different. And NFL ratings would not be as high if your Colts played 6 times a week, right?
Correct.
It just
Correct.
you'd
Yep.
be like, dude, I'm sorry, but I've got to have a life.
Right.
My wife
Gotta do.
my wife is literally packing, and I don't think it's her stuff. I think it's mine. So you can't, yeah. But as far as the NBA, one of them's got to do it, and one of them's got to be smart about it. And I think the NBA is extremely stupid. So I think that the NHL should be the one that bows out and says, "Screw it, we're going to play till middle of August." And
Well,
I don't think they're understanding what kind of fandom they would get.
No, it'd absolutely be great because I mean, you look at it like last night, and it takes Milwaukee fans a little bit to wake up here. I was talking to a few guys, and it seems once they got to the playoffs, they start really focusing in, and it was
Yeah,
kind of
because they knew the Bucks, unless like they all got the plague or something, we're gonna make the playoffs.
correct, and it was just interesting to me to see that dynamic. But like last night, for example, I go to a place in Milwaukee. Every TV was obviously the Bucks game. I mean, I'm in Milwaukee, but when you have the hockey games are phenomenal right now. I mean, we're gonna get a game 7. We got a game 6 tonight that's on the brink, and sometimes I feel like the people will focus in on one, maybe one night than the other. Why not have it like you're saying, where you could kind of combat it a little bit and break it up? Because, like you said, unless you're a diehard baseball fan, people are on vacation, people are doing things. That July period, if people are going to watch anything, even if they're on vacation or something, they're going to be focused into a deep run playoff. They're not going to really worry about
Yeah,
the
because the
regular
thing is,
season.
and I think where they lose people and they don't understand this is they say, well, a lot of people are on vacation. Dude, you think there's not a streaming device on vacation somewhere?
Correct.
So if you're sitting on the beaches of Bora Bora or wherever the hell you can afford to go, for me it would be some white trash beach here in Florida.
Oh, come on.
But but the point is, there's not a bar close by that you wouldn't be staying up watching and drinking and watching the games, or I could be
Exactly.
sitting there. Hell, today you could be sitting on the beach literally and streaming it from a device, right? So it's the game has changed as far as fighting for viewers. You just have to be smart enough not to compete against each other.
Right.
I mean, literally, they shoot their nose off to spite their face every single year. It's both leagues. And I don't know why those two don't come together and say, look, bro, when are you going to play? Because I swear to God, every time I put my schedule out, you put yours out. And then when are you going to play your games? You can have whatever you want. This is what I would do if I was the NHL. You tell me when you're going to play. If you want late summer, we'll take early summer. If you want early summer, we'll take late summer. Because we want fans, and you need fans as well. They both would grow.
I fully agree. And just a short
The
term
only cool
example.
thing about this summer is that we have the Olympics. So
True.
you're going to get that for about a 2.5, 3 week period. If you count the opening and closing ceremonies, is about 3 weeks. That will be fun. But in most summers, you don't have anything.
Right. And I mean, hey, Zach Levine, shout out to him. He's going to be a part of the Olympic basketball team at least. But tonight, like you said, I'm going to be watching hockey tonight. I mean, basketball series is 2-0. No offense. I'm going to throw that to the side, and I'm a bigger NBA fan. But when you got a possible elimination game, as we do, going down between Montreal and Las Vegas tonight, I got to focus in on the hockey. That's just how it's going to be.
By the way, speaking of the Olympics, you don't want to miss batting practice tomorrow. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but Justin and I have got something planned. You do not want to miss batting practice tomorrow.
Okay.
Based around the Olympics, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. It's a story that I found, and it should be a lot of fun. I was going to do it today. I was like, man, I got to get Justin's take, so I didn't want to do it 2 days in a row. But anyways, you don't want to miss it. If you are able to chime in or whatever, I'd love to hear your take as well. But this is some funny stuff.
Well, no, even like yesterday, you tagged me in, or a couple days ago, because I've been down here. I haven't.
Yeah, the
been able
Rizzo thing. So
Yep.
yeah, and I didn't want to go too much into it because I figured we're going to do it on the
Fair enough. Saturday show.
on the Saturday show. But I mean, just in a quick snap, Rizzo getting benched. Were you for it or against it?
Well, and wait, we're talking about Javi Baez, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
What did I say? Rizzo? Sorry.
Rizzo. No, you're fine. This is when you copy.
I love Rizzo and hate Rizzo. And what I mean by that is I love Anthony Rizzo.
Yes.
But this other Rizzo, I forget her first name on MLB Network that is now doing the show with Chris Russo. Oh, if you haven't seen it, it's brutal.
It's dreadful.
It's like the mean librarian comes in and breaks up the fun that freaking
takes out the ruler
that Russo's having. I mean, I now watch. So I always liked Ty Heat. I know a lot of people don't like Russo, but I do just because he's a radio icon. And anyways, I've been listening to him for years.
Mad Dog Radio.
Yeah. When he does his brush back at the very beginning of the show, it's kind of like our batting practice. I watch that and then I get the hell out of there before she starts chiming in. Oh. And she's doing it from like her house when he's in studio. All of them are in studio. Okay.
It makes no sense.
There's no reason why she cannot be in this studio. Anyways, they hired her on. They probably hired her extremely cheap. And I see why now, because Bruce Shine is 1,000 times better than her. I'm sure Sean's got, is a part of her fan club because, she's up there with Mina Kimes.
Oh, right up there.
Mr.
Sean, I'm sorry. Mina's got to go.
Yeah. The Mount Rushmore of crappy female podcasters, is Mina Kimes, Beth Mowins, this lady Russo. I want to say her name's Alana, but I really don't remember.
The Sunday Night Baseball lady from what she used to do.
Yes, and we'll throw her in there.
Just to throw her in.
I don't know if she's still doing it anymore. She was.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what she's up to.
And now that the softball's over, I don't know if she's coming back to that or not. I think the jury's spoken, but at the same token, it's not any better with A-Rod. I mean, A-Rod might as well be on that Mount Rushmore too, because he's just a bitch.
Trash.
Yeah. Man. But I know that we got to run to break. And you got to get going because you've got another obligation. When we come back from the other side of this break, I've got the 12 teams in the National Football League that have never won a Super Bowl. And I actually have broken it down scientifically. Who has the best chance to win this? I went into detail, and it sucks we're not going to get to talk about it, but I will be doing that on the other side of the break. What is your walk-off for the day?
My walk-off for today is simple. Just enjoy these, last of the playoffs, because before you know it, for the NHL and NBA, it will be over. And then, we are getting closer to football, but just enjoy it. Vegas versus Montreal tonight. I've been betting Montreal this whole playoff, and it's been going well for me because they usually are.
Tonight? Is it over?
Honestly, I think so. I'm going to predict they win tonight, and I'm going to go 4-2 they win tonight. That is my prediction.
I hope to hell you're right. I really want to see a New York, Montreal, but I would take a Tampa Bay, Montreal Stanley Cup. Anyone but Vegas. I'm just not a fan of Vegas. I'm just
sorry, Brian, because apparently he is. Brian Cook's commented on there. Please, Vegas tonight.
Against Montreal, maybe? I don't know.
I'm not really sure, but just simple walk
I
off.
hate Vegas because of the way they built their team. And I know it's really weird for people who know me well for me to say I hate Las Vegas. I do not hate Las Vegas.
You do not hate the city.
I love Las Vegas. If my wife would let me, I would move there. Again,
your shoes might be on the outside of the door.
Exactly. She'd be packing within a week of us living there. It'd be a wrap. Yeah. If a business ever took us there, I would have to not be living in Las Vegas. I'd have to be outside of it.
Hey, a little idea, the show Armchair Quarterback. Maybe we just have to take a business trip to Las Vegas. Try and smooth that one over.
All right, brother. Well, I don't want you to be late for your very important date. We'll see you Saturday.
Thank you very much.
On the Cubs
neighborhood play.
Neighborhood play. We'll be back in a flash to tell you, and it's not who you think. I know a lot of people think I'm going to say the Titans have the best chance. I've broken it down. It's science, baby. We'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks to tell you who the next one is to win a Super Bowl.
Have a good one, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Max, a woman in my section wants to know if we do anything gluten-free. What do I tell her? Tell her she's not allergic to gluten. She's just masking an eating disorder.
At Jewelers Mutual, we're a little obsessed with jewelry. Obsessed like auctioneers with talking fast.
50, we're going to fit
Pop stars with auto-tune. And dentists with asking questions.
How did he propose?
After they've put their hands in your mouth.
Great.
Yes, we've made jewelry our obsession for over 100 years. We love it so much, we named our kids Ruby, Amber, and Opal.
Venti soy latte for Opal?
At Jewelers Mutual, we insure jewelry and only jewelry, which is why people who are also obsessed with jewelry trust us with theirs.
Let's face it, where you're betting is just as important as who you're betting on. That's why I go to mybookie.ag. It's fast, it's easy, and they pay you when you win. Look, I wouldn't be telling you to bet mybookie.ag if they weren't the best. Do the smart thing. If you're going to bet this football season, bet with mybookie.ag. That's mybookie.ag.
They're killing me. Why are they killing me?
What do we do? This has got way too complicated.
I've got it. Here's what's going down. Corey, you talk to your team. You guys are going to decline that holding call.
Done.
Yo, wait, but
Hold on. Trey Sean, once we break this huddle, you're going to get out there and do some crazy celebration. I'm talking some humpies. Whatever you got to do, you do it. Okay, I got you. I'm going to call unsportsmanlike conduct on the celebration, giving the white better field position after the kickoff. Coach, I need you to talk to your team about letting them run that kickoff back.
why would I do that?
Think about it. Defense, special team, it's all one. You let them run that kickback, both your defenses get 6 points.
Nice.
Okay, everyone good here?
Yeah.
Nope. Once again, my kicker is getting no love.
Oh, shut up, Bill. Your team is in first place. Plus, you're about to get extra point for the PAT.
Yeah, don't be greedy, Bill.
Stop being greedy, Bill.
Bill.
Fine.
Bill.
Yeah, Bill.
I said fine.
Bill.
Bill.
Yeah, Bill. You, Bill.
All right, let's do this. Get out there.
Wait a minute. Treson comes in with a very delayed celebration here. Oh, wow. I'm pretty sure that's going to be yeah, there it is. Another
Armchair.
Do you want to lose 18 pounds fast and improve your health? Now you can lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months with Nutrisystem. Get delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners, even snacks and shakes delivered safely to your door. All delivered for free. It's easy to follow, and you'll see results in your first week. Just text BURN to 323232. You'll get your favorite foods made healthier and perfectly balanced to put your body in fat burning mode. Text BURN to 323232 right now and get 50% off a month of meals and shakes. That's right, 50% off a month of meals and 50% off a month of shakes with probiotics to help support your immune system. Just text BURN to 323232 right now. There's even a money-back guarantee. Millions of people have lost weight with Nutrisystem, and you can too. Lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months. Just text BURN to 323232. That's BURN to 323232.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Georgie, would you like some Jell-O?
Why'd you put the bananas in there?
George likes the bananas!
So let him have bananas on the side. All right, please. Please, I cannot have this constant bickering. Stress is very damaging to the epidermis.
Kinda like this small town. They ain't changed a bit, nothing better than.
Good morning. Welcome back here on CBS Sports Radio, YouTube Live. The Armchair Quarterback Show. Find us on YouTube Live today. Like and share. Please like and share our show today. And we've got a lot to get into and a little time to do it. As I talked about here a second ago, I'm going to break down the best chance for a team in the National Football League that has never won a Super Bowl to win a Super Bowl. And there's 12 teams, by the way. It's the Arizona Cardinals, the Atlanta Falcons, Buffalo, Carolina, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Detroit, Houston, the Chargers, Minnesota, and the Tennessee Titans. And what I did was I broke down, I gave them grades for defense, quarterback, general manager / head coach, and then the skills positions. And I took those 4 and I ranked them 12 through 1. So if you had the best quarterback, you got a 12. You had the worst, you got a 1. And so with that, I came up with the scoring system that basically broke down who has the best shot at winning the Super Bowl first of all these teams that have never won one before. And when you look at the fact it's kind of hard to believe there's been 12 teams to never win the Super Bowl. I would have actually thought before I saw this article come out, and I would have thought the number would have been a little less. Would have thought it'd been a little more spread out because the NFL is the one sport that every year your team has a chance to make the playoffs at the beginning of the season because you just don't know how teams are going to gel, and that is a big deal. And when you get them to gel and to play well, you can get look. I get that Tom Brady was a guy that everybody had seen in the Super Bowl a million times, and then you figured that Tampa Bay would have a good shot. But that team was not playing well until well into the season. I'd say late November, early December is when they really kind of turned the next gear, and then they improved. They got really hot once the playoffs started. So to me, every single year you have a chance in the NFL because you just never know how your team is going to gel. And we're going to get into that in 1 second. I do want to catch you up on what's going on in the world of sports today. Darius Geis, remember him? Got a release by the Washington football team. His charges have been dropped on his domestic violence charges. So we'll see what happens with that. He hasn't realistically played in the league in 3 years. So we'll see if he gets an opportunity somewhere, but his charges have been dropped. Frank Clark of the Kansas City Chiefs, this happened a couple of days ago, but haven't really reacted to it. He gets caught with an Uzi in his car. So we'll see what the league does with that. Considering how woke the NFL has gone recently, they might be anti-gun laws, and they might be that might be a hefty suspension for Frank Clark. So we'll stay tuned to that. And then the other thing was in the NFL, Kittle. He has a tight end camp going on where the elite tight ends come over the off season and they go in and they practice together, et cetera. He did not invite Tim Tebow, and that is becoming like a big story. But I get, and Kittle basically said, I don't even invite every starter in the NFL. How can I start a guy? He said third string. Really, Tim Tebow is like sixth string right now. How do I invite that guy? So I get what he's saying. It was just the way he said it was kind of a mean girlish, right? So it's a fair point, and I get what he said, but I think he probably needs some lessons in PR because I feel like he could have worded that a little differently. Other than, you could do. So I was putting this list long before Tim Tebow said he was coming back, and it is what it is. We only have so many slots. You could have done that, and it would have been fine. But when you basically say, I'm not inviting a scrub to my camp, that becomes a much bigger issue in the world. They're going to beat this to death on the 4-letter network. That's what they do. But I found it interesting. It's kind of a non-story, but they will turn it into a story. Okay. Outside of that, real quick to hit you with the scoreboard. If you're just joining us, the NBA playoffs last night, Trae Young, there's a reason why his picture's on our YouTube live page. He went off 48 points. 48 points and gets the W. Hawks 1-0 in that series. Phoenix 2-0 in the series. And Joey said that he saw where Chris Paul will play tonight. So that's a big deal. It's going to be back in Los Angeles. But as far as we know, there will be no Kawhi, but it looks like we will get Chris Paul. So with all that being said, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the Clippers respond, because it could be a wrap. If they go out and put the foot on them, the Suns, that series could be over. They win tonight. I think the Clippers will essentially give up down 3-0. You could get a sweep, and they could be sitting back there licking their chops, getting healthy, getting rested, waiting for a Atlanta Milwaukee series that I think will go pretty deep. I did pick the Hawks to win that series, but I think it's going at least 6. So we'll pay attention to that. The NHL last night, big W by the New York Islanders. Came all the way back down 2-0 in the second to tie it up in the third at 2 apiece and win in overtime 3-2 as the Islanders force a game 7. There's nothing better in sports than a game 7. And I really think hockey game 7s are greater than NBA great game 7s because they usually live up to the hype. The NBA game 7s, sometimes you get hyped up for it and it's like a 15-point blowout. So looking forward to that as well. And then College World Series, for those of y'all that missed that, my God, Vanderbilt. They were all, you talk about coming off the deck. The Vanderbilt Commodores, setting the stage a little bit, they were in do or die situation down to Stanford going into the bottom of the 9th inning. Okay. And the Commodores score 2 in the bottom of the 9th, down 5-4, score 2 in the bottom of the 9th off a wild pitch, gets the W, a wild pitch. And when I say wild, that pitch was wild. I don't know what in the heck happened with that, but anyways, down to their last strike, Vanderbilt gets up off the canvas and forces game to go to extra innings with the run, and then gets the W before they even had to go to extra innings. So look, when that wild pitch happened, they were playing with house money at that point, right? So what we're going to get now, Vanderbilt moves on. What we have today in the world of College World Series out in Omaha is Texas and Virginia. That's the 7:00 game. And this is a do or die for Texas and Virginia. The winner of this game will play tomorrow. Now, how is that set up? Friday at 2:00, it's Vanderbilt versus North Carolina State. So you're going to get Vanderbilt in a do or die situation against NC State, who's going to need 2, or is going to have to get beaten twice for it to be over for them. So NC State can kind of play around in tomorrow's game and set their best guy up for Saturday. Because if they find a way to beat Vanderbilt in tomorrow's game, you want your starting pitching and bullpen set up for Monday when the series begins. Okay. Mississippi State is awaiting tonight's winner, and that will decide who's on the other side of the bracket. So you got 2:00 and 7:00 tomorrow. It's do or die for Vanderbilt and whoever wins tonight. But Mississippi State and NC State still have to be beaten twice by their opponents. So that's where we're at in the College World Series, and the World Series itself begins on Monday. So if there are losses by the NC State or in Mississippi State, either one or both, you will have college baseball on Saturday. And so that's how that sets up. Okay. National Football League. Let's get into this because I'm looking at Arizona, Atlanta, Buffalo, Carolina, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Detroit, Houston, Jacksonville Jaguars, the Chargers, the Vikings, and the Tennessee Titans. Not a single one of them have ever won a Super Bowl. Now, some of them came a lot closer than others. Jacksonville has never been in the Super Bowl, okay? But they have made it to the AFC Championship game a couple of times. Now, granted, they've only been around for a little over 25 years. So, with that being said, you can't kill certain franchises for never being in, because certain franchises have not been there that long. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals, they've been around for a hot minute. They did make it to the Super Bowl twice. Both happened to be against the 49ers during their heyday. And we all know what happens when you face Joe Montana in the Super Bowl. You lose. That was Kenny Anderson. That was the first Super Bowl I really remember, like, absorbing. Super Bowl 16, I think that was. And then later on, it was Boomer Esiason. And really good Cincinnati Bengal teams just never quite got it done. Arizona Cardinals, they've been in the Super Bowl fairly recently. Was it 08, I believe, was the season against Pittsburgh? Buffalo Bills. We all know they've been there 4 times in a row, never won it. Now, they haven't been back. They made the AFC Championship game last year, but their defense was atrocious. Carolina, they've made it to the Super Bowl. Remember losing to the Patriots. Cleveland Browns have never been to the Super Bowl. They've made it to a couple of AFC Championship games, the drive, the fumble. Detroit Lions, they are the farthest away, essentially, when you look at the history of the NFL. They just have literally done nothing. Now, they were a powerhouse before the Super Bowl ever came about, but we're not talking about what they did prior to the Super Bowl generation, which is what I believe this is year 56 we're in. So for the modern era of the National Football League, which I believe began when the Super Bowl was created, you're looking at a franchise that just has not been very good at all. Houston Texans, they've never done anything. They've never been to the AFC title game. The Chargers, they have made it to the AFC title game. In fact, the one that jumps out at me, and it might be the only one now that I'm thinking about it, was the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Chargers in the it was Dan Fouts, excuse me. Dan Fouts of the Chargers beats the Bengals. And then, of course, the Chargers also went to the Super Bowl. It was the last 49er championship when Steve Young and company dismantled the Chargers. And then, of course, that was Bobby Humphrey was the quarterback then. That was Natron Means before he went to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that has been quite some time. I believe it's around 27 years at this point. Minnesota Vikings, they famously have also been to 4 Super Bowls, have never won it. And then the Tennessee Titans, they went the one time, lost by a yard, infamously to the Rams. So there you have it. That's the history of these teams. Now, who's going to win it? And I won't break down every single position because it's going to get ridiculous, but I will highlight some of them because I'm sure you're going to be like, well, how the hell did you come up with that number? This is ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. I know I'm going to get pushback on this, but I don't care because it's my list. And I feel like these are the teams that had the best shot to get there. The team with the absolute worst shot to win a Super Bowl. We're talking about in the near future. I'm not talking about they'll never win it. I'm talking about it's a race to win that Super Bowl. To me, it's the Houston Texans. And though I gave them the number one ranking on their quarterback, because I do have Deshaun Watson as the best quarterback of these 12, and I still gave them credit for having him. But with all that being said, he's not going to be there. So the Houston Texans are like this far away from the rest because they're essentially going to have to full-blown rebuild. And I've got the Houston Texans as the farthest away. I gave them 16 total points. This is in 4 categories. Houston got a 12 points for their quarterback. So that tells you how low they are everywhere else. Their defense was not very good last year. They lost Will Fuller and they traded away D-Hop. So skills positions, the hell are we talking about? And the general manager, head coach, I'm not a fan of the head coach that they hired. I don't think he's going to inspire a lot of young players. I just feel like that they are in a rebuild, and the general manager there, look, the jury's still out on him, but I did give him the worst of all the general manager rankings because, first of all, he was combined with the head coach, but second of all, he hasn't done anything yet, and the only thing that he's really done since he's gotten there is somehow alienate Deshaun Watson, his best player. So Houston is the farthest away. The second farthest away it will not shock you. And that is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I gave them a points ranking of 20. And that's just because they're in a full-blown rebuild. And I don't know what to make of Urban Meyer and his leadership, not just him, but also everyone making decisions in the Jaguar organization. Because honestly, this thing just began. He has no experience in the National Football League. So I couldn't be disingenuous and overrank Urban Meyer. We'll see. Now these rankings could go much different next year. They could change much differently midway through the season. But as we sit right now, this is where I have Jacksonville Jaguars are the furthest away from winning the Super Bowl, just in front of Houston. Houston's the worst. Jacksonville's the second. After that, I've got a tie with Atlanta and Carolina. And the reason for that being Atlanta's in a rebuild and they've got an aging quarterback. I do think they have decent skill position, and I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt on the general manager and the head coach combination there because, look, they did draft Pitts, which I was big on. I thought he was probably the best player in the draft. And they did trade away Julio Jones, which is going to give them some flexibility down the road. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, but they're still so far away because of all their other pieces are just not very good. And look, Matty Ice, as great as he's been over his career, he's very up and down. He's at the end of his career. I had to knock them down a mark. Carolina Panthers, I think it's pretty obvious. Their defense was suspect last year. Their quarterback situation is a big question mark. Look, if something comes up where Sam Darnold ends up being a superstar, this number can obviously change. But you know as well as I do, they're not a real threat to win the Super Bowl this year. So we have that. And so I've got Carolina tied with Atlanta. It's kind of funny. I didn't realize till just now the bottom four farthest away, they're in two divisions, the AFC South and the NFC South. Okay. The next team would be the Minnesota Vikings. And though I had them ranked high on their skills position and gave them a little bit of a benefit of the doubt with the head coach and front office. Didn't have them ranked too high, but I didn't kill them. But the big question mark is their quarterback situation. And I've got them ranked as the worst because Kirk Cousins, you just don't know what the hell you're going to get from him. He can look like the best quarterback on the planet in week 2 and look like the worst in weeks 4 through 8. So I had to put him at the very bottom. And so that's why Minnesota is as far away as they are. After that, I've got a flat-footed tie with the Buffalo Bills, and it's going to surprise you, the Detroit Lions. And the reason why I say that is I think their defense is going to be very good this year. I think it's going to be stingy. It's going to be nasty. And I believe the Detroit Lions have an outside chance of possibly, I don't know if it'll happen this year, but possibly bringing in a better quarterback. And look, we know that they traded Matt Stafford, but they're turning the page. And we'll see what they can do long-term. If I'm Detroit and I have a fairly bad season, I seriously think about taking my top pick and going and getting Deshaun Watson if he's not already gone. Because you put Deshaun Watson on the Detroit Lions, we're talking turkey. Sure, they have things that they would have to improve, but a defense that I think is going to be their calling card this year, Detroit's not that far away. They're probably a good 3 years from being a real contender, and they've got to figure out the quarterback situation. Is Goff a guy that they can win with? Or is Goff just a guy that's going to change or be the change of the guard down the road? But I like what they're doing per se, but the jury's still out. Now, Buffalo, the reason why I have Buffalo tied with them, you'd be like, what are you talking about? They went to the AFC Championship. Their defense is so damn bad. and they have no running game. And it doesn't look like they did a whole lot to change that. So that concerns me. If I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, I expect that we're probably going to be in the playoffs. But are you going to be like the Marino Dolphins of the 80s, where that's as high as you'll ever get because your defense and lack of running game puts all the pressure on Josh Allen? And though he's got Diggs, what happens if there's an injury somewhere to one of those two players? Their defense was really good a few years ago. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that they abandoned the running game. It put the defense out there a lot, and so it turned into a track meet. That being said, I do believe Buffalo can change it around and be close, be very close. I just don't think it's going to happen this year. And I don't think that their talent is that far off on defense, but they do have to do an overhaul, and that's why I've got them where they're at. So they had 25 points. For reference, Houston 16, Jacksonville 20, Atlanta and Carolina 22, Minnesota 23, and then I had Buffalo and Detroit tied at 25, 26th on the list, which makes them the 5th best chance to win the Super Bowl. San Diego Chargers, 5th best chance to win the Super Bowl of all the teams that have never won the Super Bowl. And I've got the San Diego Chargers, or I keep saying San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers. I got the Los Angeles Chargers just above Buffalo because I have their quarterback position rated really high. I think their defense is going to be much improved. Some of the injuries that they went through last year. A key to that is going to be Derwin James. But they've got a good defense that's coming back, assuming they can stay healthy. They've got a good young quarterback. They've got a decent skills. I have them about midway through, halfway up the board. But what concerns me is their leadership, and so there's still a big question mark there. And so we'll see what happens with the Chargers. But I've got they've got a chance. Someone just has to take advantage of it. The next on the list, the top 4. The Arizona Cardinals at 27 points. Arizona Cardinals. And that's because I've got them as having the 2nd best quarterback of all these teams. I've got their skills position ranked, 4th. When you look at the running backs that they've brought in with Connor and the fact that they've brought in AJ Green into their skill positions. I know he's an aging veteran, but they're going to have a lot of options on offense. So I think that's going to be a really good skills position. Their defense is one of their biggest question marks. And I am not 100% sold on their head coach. I'm willing to give Kingsbury a benefit of the doubt because he's just really started this process, but this is year 3, and this is where the rubber meets the road. Right now, we've got the Arizona Cardinals tied with the Cincinnati Bengals, and that is because the Bengals, although I'm not sold on the front office and the head coach, I do believe they rank fairly high. They have an improving defense. They've got a pretty good young quarterback in Joe Burrow, and assuming he's healthy, that's why he's not ranked as high as I have other quarterbacks because he's coming off the injury. But I did give him the benefit of the doubt and gave him 7 out of 12. And so that means that there was only 5 quarterbacks I've ranked in front of him. Now, if he comes back like gangbusters, then he could very well be up there in the top 3. But right now I've got him where he is. Now, the general manager, head coach is what hurts him, but they've got good skills positions. They've improved on that over the last few drafts. And I really believe if he could just stay healthy, Joe Mixon could be a guy that they could. The problem is he gets his injuries and then they become one-dimensional. So I've got them tied with Arizona. And so you got two teams left. And I'm going Tennessee Titans number 2 and the Cleveland Browns number 1. Tennessee had 35 points. I don't remember if I said this. Arizona and Cincinnati were 27 with the Chargers having 26. Tennessee had 35 points, and I gave Cleveland 38. And the reason why I've got Cleveland's defense being arguably the best one, they were really close to knocking off the Chiefs, by the way, on the road last year. A couple of things fall their way. We might be talking about the defending Super Bowl champion Cleveland Browns. I know that's a stretch. I don't know if they would have won in Buffalo, but I would have given them a decent chance to go nose to nose with the Bucs. Bucs probably would have beat them, but it would have been a good game. I think it would have been a better game than we got out of Kansas City because of the Kansas City flaws that I think they have now fixed. But when you look at Cleveland across the board, I gave them the best defense. I gave them halfway up the line with their quarterback. I think Mayfield's a decent quarterback. I had him ranked just in front of Tannehill. Had to because he won it head to head on the field last year. What has Tennessee ranked up so high is I do believe in John Robinson as the general manager. I do believe Vrabel is a very good coach. In their skills position, Derrick Henry, Julio Jones, A.J. Brown. They've got a lot that you like there. The big question mark is why Cleveland's ranked over them is the defense. The defense scares the hell out of you. Cleveland's biggest question mark is the quarterback, but he's still halfway up my line. The reason why I have that as their biggest question mark is Mayfield has had some bad games in his career. He looks like he turned the corner, and I believe he has. But I couldn't put him very high up on the list because if he did not improve on that this offseason, it could be an issue. So there you have it. Those are the teams that have never won the Super Bowl, the best chance to win the Super Bowl. I have number 1, Cleveland, 2, Tennessee. Tied for 3rd is Arizona and Cincinnati. 4 is the Chargers. Oh, I'm sorry, 5 is the Chargers. 6 and 7, Buffalo and Detroit. 8, Minnesota. 9 and 10 tied are Atlanta and Carolina. 11 is Jacksonville, and 20 is the Houston Texans, because we expect if he's on the roster, I don't think Deshaun Watson is putting on a Houston Texans jersey again. All right, let's go ahead and turn back time and get the hell on out of here on a beautiful Thursday morning, as we got a lot of sports to look forward to. A great weekend of sports headed, and we'll get you reset for that tomorrow morning. All right, turn back time on where are we at? We're already on June 24th. It's hard to believe it's almost the end of June, almost halfway through the year already on a turn back time. Oh man. It really, last year it dragged. This year it's flying by. Turn back time. Here we go. On this date in 1950, Willie Mays makes his professional baseball debut playing center fielder for Trenton, the Giants farm team in Class B. The 19-year-old outfielder from Alabama goes hitless in the game, but will hit .353 in 81 games before being promoted to the Minneapolis Millers, the AAA affiliate that year. And then, of course, he would make his great debut for what arguably, I guess he's the when people talk about the best player, the oldest living player, the best player that's still with us, however you want to word that, I definitely would think it would be Willie Mays now that we've lost the great Hank Aaron. All right. Birthdays.
It's your birthday today.
Happy birthday. We're going to grab a dead one, and then we'll give you a live one. 1895. Jack Dempsey was born on this day. How about that? Jack Dempsey, for people who don't know, you know now, one of the greatest heavyweights in the history of boxing. You know, even when I was growing up, and he'd been long gone, Jack Dempsey was referred to, in other words, when people say he's the Michael Jordan of his sport, when they would see a badass, they'd be like, dude, I'll tell you what, man, that dude, their punches like Jack Dempsey. So he had staying power in the American. Well, I don't think he's there today. I think most kids probably don't know who Dempsey is, but one of the greatest boxers of all time. All right, let's grab in a live one, or at least the last time we checked. Happy, man, is he 34 years old already? Happy 34th birthday, Lionel Messi. Argentine soccer player, and of course, one of the greatest soccer players to ever lace him up. 34 years old, Lionel Messi. Also, man, is JJ Redick 37? Wow. That surprises me. JJ Redick 37. All right, we'll see you tomorrow, y'all. Justin will be with us with the 8 a.m. show, Tony Aguilini. And then, of course, we'll have Matt Carr at the 9 o'clock hour. We'll see you mañana. Have a great rest of your Thursday. And thanks for listening. Please like and share our YouTube channel today.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get another cigarette, please.